What's up, everybody? Dark Knight 316, Robert Ruler Gaming, and this is the Roundtable Podcast, episode 40. So, before we start with any of these news stories, what did you bring us to drink?
Um, we went to a Japanese market, and I found this energy drink. I thought it looked pretty cool. So I don't know if you could see it there, but I thought it looked pretty cool. So I wanted to try it, and so I bought you one. I want to see what it's like. So
Get our take on it.
here you go. Cheers.
Okay, let me. It smells good. This one ain't too bad.
Oh, that's got a lot of mango. I don't know.
Ain't too bad. Okay, so what you been playing?
I just recently put down Final Fantasy 12 and picked up Final Fantasy VII Remake because they have the streamlined progression.
Mm-hmm.
So I started trying that out and going through the story again. So
Yeah. Well, I've been trying to finish up Dragon Quest 2 so then I can start the demo for Dragon Quest 7 or start something else playing it because Dragon Quest 7 comes out like February 2nd, February 3rd, something like that.
Soon?
Yeah, it's really soon. So I don't have that much longer to finish Dragon Quest 2. But Dragon Quest 2 does a lot of tie-ins to the third one. So you need to play it in the order of 3, 1, 2. Is basically on how they claim that you're supposed to play it. So, I mean, I'm liking this one so far. I mean, 3 was just like you would like 3 better because of the job system, but for me, like 3 was too much.
I don't know because you think about Final Fantasy 12, it has a job system, but I'm not liking the game as much as I like the other Final Fantasy job systems. So you never know. You
Sorry.
right there?
I'm dying here. Alright, so
I have to do this solo.
I know our first story. Ubisoft has delayed a bunch of games that they were supposed to be releasing the Prince of Persia Sands of Time remake, but that was a bust, and so they started delaying a bunch of these games or canceling them indefinitely. Well, one of the games that were supposed to have come out in March was this Black Flag 4 remake, and so the Black Flag 4 remake now says it's going to be delayed by up to 1 year. Now, does that mean physical year or fiscal year? Because in fiscal year, I believe March is their fiscal year. So, it could just be delayed until, March of next year, or it could be delayed until, April, because then it's the whole new fiscal year. So, technically, they could bring it out. Oh, what's your take on this? And did you like the Black Flag?
I did not like the Black Flag. I thought the the pirate battles weren't that fun. But I do think it is weird to me that you're gonna have a remake of this game when you should probably remake the very first game. Because yeah, this one was popular, but I don't think it's one of their stronger single player stories that they've had. So I think it's one of those that I probably won't play it anyway, but
I mean, I liked
I'm not excited about it. So
I liked the Black Flag. Their multiplayer was annoying. I didn't really like it too much. I mean, doing it solo was fine when you had to do those ones where you're basically trying to find the enemy and then doing it basically on how Brotherhood and Revelation had it. So that multiplayer was okay, but it just started to get annoying with they had the other modes to it, which most people never even played, like the treasure hunting one, kind of like the one that Uncharted 4 had, where you had to go get a treasure, bring it back to the part, and you score points
yeah, I
and
think
stuff.
this is on the cusp of PS3 going into PS4. So and they're bringing that, but then they also are like riding the high of Assassin's Creed 3 and all those. So it's like they had success with their other games. This one comes out. That's why it's so popular, but they're they probably won't have the multiplayer, which is good, but I didn't think the story was that strong.
Well, I mean, with this story, you pretty much had to play 3 to understand the story on there, and then you also didn't have to, because it's basically just a pirate's tale. But this shows here that this is the more popular franchise than any of the other Assassin's Creed franchise, because you would think that, like you said, like maybe remake the first one to make it look all better and
Because the first one was what started it all.
And so even though the 2 was the one that like,
was the most popular. Yeah.
So yeah, it's kind of weird there, but I think that they're trying to push on the whole pirate stuff because like Disney's bringing out another Pirates of the Caribbean, so they're trying to, capitalize on this early enough so that then everybody will like pirates themed stuff. I really liked this one over the other one because building up your ship, kind of recruiting crew members and stuff like that kind of reminded me of an RPG, even though this one is technically not an RPG. It's not like their origins and all that is an RPG for Assassin's Creed. But yeah, Ubisoft looks like probably a company that is probably going to have to sell because it doesn't look like they're doing good. I mean, now they're put their company to 4 divisions, and each division is working on a certain amount of games. Yeah. But I could see them like going under and having to sell the company right out.
Yeah, I know. Like we talked about this. I know we talked about this a little bit, but it's like how do you think that AC, your Assassin's Creed, Rainbow Six, and Far Cry are going to be billion-dollar franchises annually? That means you have to, in each of those games, have to have microtransactions that are going to bring you in $1 billion per. Because you can't expect that if you're going to release, let's say Assassin's Creed Shadows 2. I don't know if their next one's going to be called this, just Witchcraft one or whatever it is.
I believe it's like Helix or something like that.
So you have to then say that, because the franchise total has not brought in that much. So you have to say that then at $80, maybe $100, you're going to have to sell a couple million of those copies of those games, and then put in microtransactions that are then going to recoup what you not only lost for development fees and stuff like that, but then you think like your games alone isn't going to give you $500,000. So you're expecting it to be there. I think it's now if you say it's a $1 billion franchise like lifetime, you can meet that goal, but I don't think yearly you're not going to be able to meet that goal. Rainbow Six, maybe, because it is a type of game that you could do it, but single player, story driven games like this won't work.
Also, the problem is if it's going to be annualized. So, are they saying that Assassin's Creed's coming out every year, and same with Far Cry and like the Rainbow Six, or are they going to do what Call of Duty used to do, where it'll be like 1 year Assassin's Creed game will come out, then the next year it'll be a Far Cry, and then the next year it'll be a Rainbow Six to kind of like give you a break, because
that's where I think maybe their report was
trying to allude to, or
I think maybe their report was meaning that they're the $1 billion like games, not annually. That's where I think maybe like the report, it was misspoken. That's what I don't know. Well, that's what I'm thinking, because you can't hit.
Because I was trying to say, like, if they're gonna bring out all 3 of those games every year, it's gonna get to a point like how they used to do it with Assassin's Creed, where it's like people got bored of the game there, and then the developers got lazy and like the game sucked. So then what they did was, after I believe it was like Origins or whatever, they took a break, and then it was like 2 years. Then they brought out Valhalla, and then 2 years they brought out like Odyssey and stuff like that. and so they waited the 2 year cycle so that then people will, take a break, maybe like 100% their game, get the DLCs, like that kind of stuff, and then be like, oh yeah, I want another one. Call of Duty did that for a while, and then Call of Duty started to get lazy and bringing out every single year on there. So I don't know if that's their approach, but if that's their approach, they're not going to reach $1 billion because
I don't know how
I
they
mean
would do it.
microtransactions are going to be, but I mean I rarely even go to the Ubisoft store when I play this game. I mean, I go once in a while because they'll give you like the free like, oh, here's an extra like weapons pouch or some kind of thing like that. Like that's the only time I go on there. But I never buy the Helix coins to go and do like buy the time saver DLC or anything like that to boost up the game to go quicker. That kind of stuff.
But you think the only way that microtransaction works is in like sports games, really? Because look at Madden, for instance. You want to get card packs? You're buying every single. Like, you're spending real money to buy card packs that are going to only get you a certain percentage. And I think the idea that they're probably going to do is going to be like a Ubisoft hub, and it's going to have, like how Call of Duty has it, like they have a hub, and then you can play like all their other games and stuff like that.
Well,
in this
they
hub. I think it's going to be like that.
they have a hub, but you don't get to play the game. But
Yeah.
it has all the games that you've played, and then you can get like free points.
Yeah,
For
no, I think
completing
it
the
would
stuff.
be more like a Call of Duty, and then I can imagine them also doing like having a hub like that. That's like a Ubisoft Warzone. So of course I'm playing it off of Call of Duty, but to make it where it's like an online only Assassin's Creed game, and then tie in their Assassin's Creed franchises to
Well,
this.
I could see them doing a Warzone type Assassin's Creed where it's like
That's
that,
how they'll make their money.
where they kind of have you go in there, you kind of get your loot on there, kind of like the loot shooter type things, but they'll have it where you got to go and assassinate so many people, but then it gets to the point where like the map goes shorter and shorter, so you can't just like hide in the crowd or stay in this one part or whatever like that. I could see them doing that, especially if they go with this like naval type one, where
Yeah.
like you got the ship, you can do like everything on there. I can see them do that, but the problem would be is they gotta do that for all their games.
That's
So
what they'll probably
I don't
do.
think
For
I don't think the
microtransactions.
company is big enough or has enough of their money to do that kind of stuff. So I think maybe what they'll just do is add like the stupid like how they did before, where it's like, oh, time saver. If you want to get these things here, you could do your
But
Abstergo
even
points
that
and do that.
isn't going to be enough to get you if you're trying to make it $1 billion. You have to make some kind of like single player microtransaction, and that's going to be like worth to me having to keep paying money. That's why I always think of Madden.
Yeah.
Oh, I want the best players. I'm going to keep going with new packs, new packs.
I mean, maybe they do something like that where their Assassin's Creed is like a card type thing where it's like, oh, you play it online and I unlock a Ezio, but it's a Ezio Assassin's Creed 1, so then I need him in his classic white outfit. So then I have to buy that one, buy a pack, and hopefully pull an Ezio. Like, maybe they could do that, but I don't see them reaching $1 billion for those three of the franchise because
I can see Rainbow Six. But
Rainbow Six is popular, but I see that like that's pretty much it. Like I don't see them making $1 billion like on that.
the only reason why is because the way that game's designed is you could put microtransactions in. The
Yeah.
other two games, you can't really do it.
Yeah,
It's popular
not,
games, but you
not
can't
to
do
the
it.
point of like what we think like the microtransaction is, because I
Yeah.
mean they've had it in there where you could buy like get an extra pack or get Abstergo points so you can get their like the costume stuffs early on the multiplayer. So they've had that, but I don't see like if they continue to do that model plan like them reaching the $1 billion. I don't see
Yeah.
any of that. But
I don't think
speaking
so.
of games, so Anthem, if you weren't if you didn't know, Anthem shut down their servers at the end of January, and the 20 Anthem fans signed a petition to try to bring it back. So Anthem, one particular fan has built a server for Anthem, but hasn't got all the kinks and stuff out of it because if you've never played Anthem, Anthem servers have it where there's a specific amount of enemies and collectibles in that server. So you can never get every single collectible in Anthem. You have to play multiple different servers. So some of them you may have to wait like 15 minutes before the server resets to a different one and that kind of stuff like that. I played Anthem. I actually thought it was alright. I didn't think it was like the best thing for it, but I got pretty much close where I almost finished it because you play as one of four javelins, and if you're not aware of it, javelins are like the little Iron Man costumes. So each one have their own unique ability and whatnot, and in the story mode, you pretty much play with your javelin that you want to, and you go through the story mode. The story was all right. I mean, they could have massively improved it, but the online was okay as well. It was like to me, I didn't see it lasting that long anyway, and sales from when the game came out showed that it wasn't that popular of a game. But I was pretty much close of getting the platinum to it, but I just pretty much dropped off on it because I'm like so much that you had to do in that game that I was just like burnt out. And then plus it's like there wasn't really like a dedicated map. You had to kind of like look online and hope that you got that. But then you also had to, make sure you were in the right server or that thing's not going to be there. So it was like so much to do to a point where you're just like, screw it. Like, I don't care if I got it or not. What's your take on it?
It it was fun. It was a game because I liked playing you and I.
Mm-hmm.
But that was the thing. It was like you made the way that you made the collectibles. It was not even worth it. I felt like though at the end too they tried to like what was the point of them having a single player component for an online only game?
Mm-hmm.
That's where I felt like it. Some of those games do that too. Like Outriders did that too. But if you're only trying to like this is only an online game, I can't go back and enjoy the single player for the game. So I think that's where they made mistakes on that. Like I don't think the game was worth $60, but I think I paid like $5 for it for a
it was a bargain. It was a bargain bin game.
It was like $2 or $3 for the digital copy. But when I played it, it was one of those where it's like it was still. I only played a couple years ago and they're still beat up. So it was like you never dedicated to actually fixing anything. This many years later, after like I started playing it, who's gonna play your games probably like 10 years later anyway. But for this game to come out in what did they say 2017, and then to get rid of the servers, like I can see it's almost been 10 years. So if you didn't get the platinum, you didn't get the platinum in 10 years. But I think the way that they designed, like I thought the characters were cool the way they designed it, but I felt like as a trophy hunter, the way that you did it to make it like a loot shooter, I have to go and play around, fly around to look for your collectibles and things. It made it difficult to try to complete anything because, like, your world was so big and the servers were terrible. So,
Oh, sorry, I said 20 fans. It's actually hundreds of Anthem fans. So sorry. But yeah, see, this is the problem. Like I said, even like Call of Duty has that problem where it's like they feel like they can't sell the game at like $60 or higher there unless they have like a single player, zombies, like that kind of stuff like that. Where like this game could have just been fine, just being an online only game, kind of like Destiny. But it didn't need a single player one, or if you just wanted it to be a single player component, make it just a single
like
player.
how Outriders does it.
Well, I mean, Outriders.
It's online and offline.
Yeah, they did that.
Well, I believe so. Yeah, because you can play the story with nobody.
Yeah.
So you don't have to play online.
Yeah, so they could have done that and not even had the online component at all.
But it's like a lot of these games companies are the ones who they want your game online all the time and like things like that. That's all they.
They follow the trends is basically what they want because they all want the game on there because like. With Call of Duty, with their Warzone, Fortnite was so popular with their little game concept of you can't just camp. You have to keep moving because eventually the map will get smaller and smaller and smaller, and then you have nowhere to really hide. And so Call of Duty was like, oh yeah, let me go add a third tier to my games, and then add that to it. And then they added theirs to it on there, which I like. I've been saying for beginning, like they either need to have a hub where they sell each of them separate, or just make it a separate game on it. I think that they should just stop doing the single player game and just do an online, especially with like Call of Duty. I think what Call of Duty should do is just have a Call of Duty hub, bring out the game onto that hub, and it's basically kind of like an expansion pack or whatever on there. And then each year they just keep adding the expansion pack to it, and then you can play all the different Call of Duties on there, and just add
That's
the
what
new
they
packs
need
and
to
stuff
do
like that. Because
on their hub. They need to have it where I can go back and play everything and play on the servers and stuff like that. That's where I think I would probably actually go back and start playing it, because I want to go back and play Modern Warfare, but it's hard
and
to
then
play.
Plus,
right now.
also, then that gives them metadata to see like, oh, what are people playing? Like, are people really liking like Call of Duty 2, like the whole
Yeah, but
World
I
War?
don't know if they
do
care.
people? No, but I'm saying like
it's worth the data, but I don't know if
get
they
the
care.
data so then they can see, because then they can be like, well, a lot of people are not playing Black Ops 4 that have you running around on the walls and stuff like that, so maybe in our next one maybe we won't add that that
Think
kind of
about
stuff
how
like
many
that.
people were like seven. This Black Ops, you made 7 Black Ops. The 7th one's terrible. 6 has been selling more, and then you know what they'll probably do next year? Make a part 8. Same way as 7. Like, they're not really going to care too much about what the fans are thinking.
And so what they could do then is, like same with like the zombies, they can have the Call of Duty, you can launch up the zombies, could be a different tab, and then they could pay every year for the new zombie experience, and then they could play the old zombie experiences as well, and then they could kind of do it where if they really want to be like cool on it, it's like maybe I can do the pack-a-punch from Black Ops 4 zombies, and bring it into Black Ops 2 zombies, like that kind of stuff. Like maybe do it all integrated, but just have it online. Don't bother bringing the single player game, because if they actually look at the data, most people don't even play the single player game. They only do it when like their buddies are not playing online, then maybe they'll dab into it, stuff like that. And over the years, the single player games have sucked for like Call of Duty and stuff like that. So like for this one, the single player game was all right. They mostly focused on the online on there, so I think that, and the online really didn't have a story. Like you had to play the single player to pretty much get the story, and so I think that maybe games need to either decide to be online only or just having a single player game, because I mean, Mass Effect Andromeda did have an online and a single player, and you could have did both. I mean, that's the model I think all games that have an online component should model their game after. I mean, as much as everybody hated Anthem, I mean, not Anthem, but Andromeda, they actually did it right with their online, because they give you an either or. So the people who only liked playing single player game didn't have to dabble into the online at all, and could still get all the achievements or platinums or trophies to it, because they had it where you can either play 5 gold extraction matches or play the game on the hardest difficulty. So it gave you that option. So if the servers ever shut down, you still have that option to play. It may just not be like what you wanted to play, because the hardest difficulty may be way too hard, but at least it gives you that option so that anybody can come back years later and play that game. So I think that should be the model going forward if they're going to be bringing out the games annually. So the next transition for the story that we're talking about is WWE 2K20. What is this? 26?
26.
Yeah, 26. So they have CM Punk is on the cover again. They actually revealed the cover. They have the basic cover on him, and he's, I believe, in his hoodie. They also released the four new match types that are coming back. They're having an Inferno match, a Dumpster match. They're having a Three Stages of Hell match, and then they also are having a
Look at these 20 intergender underground and the popular bloodline rules match.
Yeah. That was in
So
2K25. Yeah. And so they've also released for pre-order that you can have. They're bringing back the Attitude Era, so they have the Attitude Era one with all the covers of you know, DX, Stone Cold, like all those ones. So they're pretty much in the game. CM Punk's the cover boy on this one because they're bringing back the showcase mode, and so in the showcase mode. But what this story was talking about is if they're gonna have the showcase mode, is Vince McMahon gonna be in the game because of the controversy that Vince McMahon is involved in, that they pretty much, try to scratch him, or is he gonna still, like, he may not be in the game, quote unquote, but you can do the create a wrestler and create him as a wrestler. But yeah, what do you think with CM Punk on the cover, or are you gonna go with the Attitude Era one because they even have a deluxe edition one that shows Triple H as the Attitude Era?
To me, I'm fine with that. I just hope it's not as hard as 13 when we played that one. But like I think these games aren't the same as it used to be. I played 2024 with Cody Rhodes on there, and like the online was hard. Like I didn't even finish it. I was trying to finish the online stuff. The online was hard to finish because one, it was too glitchy. I was like started getting through some of the levels, and then it ended up like booting me out and stuff. But I think they have too much like and I know it's the concept for their business model, but like they have too much stuff where it's like online stuff, doing this, doing that. I have to play my creative wrestler mode. Like I remember back in the day playing like the WWE 2K11 and stuff like that, where it was like you had 5 point of views and you had to go through those and finish it. Maybe do their practice mode of getting all those like being able to do every move and being able to get like create your character and stuff like that. But now I feel like they're trying to do more. Of course it's their business model to get more money from like the different showcases and things like that. So I'm not like too thrilled. I probably won't try it until it's free because I didn't get the WWE 2K25. But like, do people actually care about these matches? I mean, that's the thing. It's like, you're adding more stuff in there. But
I think what it is like, people will complain that they don't have these matches. They should just have everything that you can go and play with it. The problem I have with some of these wrestling games is it's basically like, I mean, and most people probably disagree with it, but I think that there's too much in this game.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, that's kind of funny because, it's too much, like, what can you do? But like, I liked doing the creator wrestler and stuff like that, and I liked playing the universe, or like I even like the GM mode. The GM mode was fun.
I don't like the GM mode how it is though, where it's like, oh, you have to get 5-star every single time.
Well, you don't have to get 5-star every single time.
But I'm thinking about like trophy wise,
stuff.
if they do it.
Yeah.
Oh, you're trying to compete to get the best.
Yeah, you got to get the best show.
It takes the fun out of it. If I have to play the GM mode to get 5 stars, so I have to wrestle a certain way. Like I can't just pick it up and just have fun playing it. Like
you could just simulate everything.
That's where I think
do it.
And then you don't get like 5-star because you got all the R-Truths on your team.
Depending on how you get your matches and stuff. So I like the GM mode on there. I like the universe mode where you get to create your own storyline and do that kind of stuff like that. I didn't mind the showcase one was fun where you got to relive past one. So I'm glad they're bringing back the showcase there. Just having CM Punk's showcase, I don't think it should just be him, even though he is the cover athlete on it. I think that they should have different showcases on there, like maybe Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, like those ones on there. But I also don't like that they put their little twist on the cards, kind of stuff. Like I think that ever since Madden did it, like everything has to have cards.
Yeah.
And like in our last story, where it's like everybody at that day back in the day had to have an online component. Like, no, you don't really need it. Like
Everybody has to have microtransactions.
like you can go do everything where you know it's your own
And see,
take on it. You
this
don't
is
have
a
to do
good example of like this is a single player game basically. Like you're not often going to play with people online who are going to, abuse certain move sets and stuff like that. But you're more than likely going to create your own stories, things like that. So microtransactions really are only good for like if you're going to create your wrestler and you don't want to grind through all the other stuff. But not a lot of people are going to be spending, let's say, $10 to go each time to do stuff like
That's
that.
why they had to add the cards so they can make money on the game and keep bringing it on there. But just like with Madden, just bring out the card, the My Universe one or whatever it's called now. Like that's what most people play. They don't play the franchise mode. They don't play the single player mode. They just play the little MUT ones. So
Especially too, people
just
get
bring that
mad
up.
because you remember when I played, was it 2K17 and I played with Sami Zayn and did this quick pin? Everybody was mad about how many times I would quick pin them, and you couldn't get to like you couldn't really
Break
block
out of
it
it, yeah.
as soon. But it was just weird though that you could, like, I just kept doing that because somebody did it to me, and I was like, I'll try it, and so I kept doing that.
Yeah, and they couldn't figure out how to fix it either. They tried doing an update, but for
So
some
when
reason,
somebody, like, every time I'd get messages and people were like, "We're not gonna play you because you cheat," and it's like, I'm not cheating. It's
in the game.
in the game. It's like if you ran, you clothesline me and I couldn't get back up. Like it's in the game. So like things like that. Like that's what took the fun out of like being able to play, because I'm somebody who doesn't have a lot of time to play these things, and it's fun to like. Oh, I found that one. Oh, I'm trying to get the trophy. Like you made a trophy, I had to win 5 times. So let me win 5 times. Like
So, what do you think about them bringing the Attitude Era back into this game?
I'm thinking that they're pushing too much. It's like every year they try to bring back the Attitude Era. I think they just need to focus on like slowly start getting away from the Attitude Era in games and stuff like that. And I think they need to go back to like, what about the Ruthless Aggression Era, or like these earlier ones from like 20 years ago. Because you got to think, Attitude Era probably lasted 4 or 5 years. So there's not much. And I mean, yeah, that was the best type for wrestling. That was when wrestling was at its peak. But I think you got to think about the fans today who are playing these games. And I don't think a lot of fans like our age are playing these games to relive the Attitude Era, because half the people who are going to be in this game you don't even remember. And then half the people that we do remember, people aren't going to want to play with Hulk Hogan or Macho Man. Like, they don't care. Everybody's going to want to play with Jey Uso, So,
Well, I think that the only reason why they're bringing in the Attitude Era is because they don't think that CM Punk can sell the
you don't think so?
2K20
I think they
26 by itself, because they have to. That's why they're added in so much stuff, and then they're bringing in the multiple editions of the Attitude Era one. So they have the deluxe one, and then like the legendary editions as well with different cover athletes on it. And I don't think that they can sell this one there, because if they're gonna put in an Attitude Era, they're putting in all of DX. They're putting in you know, Jericho. They're putting in all these characters like that, and some of these characters are not with the company anymore. So, are they going to be in there? Are they not going to be in there? You can't have.
how do you put
like,
Billy Gunn?
Yeah, it's like you're not going to have. Can't have an Attitude Era without this person. Like, but they're not with the company. Are you going to still be able to, put them in there or what? But yeah, I don't think that they think that. I mean, because at least when Roman Reigns was on the cover, they had the basic Roman Reigns edition. Then they had the Bloodline edition, which had the DLCs for it, but it was still Roman Reigns Bloodline. So they knew the Roman Reigns could sell the different versions on it. They didn't really need. I mean, they had, I think, either with him or with Cody, one of them had the Undertaker edition for the deluxe one, but I mean, that was just one different edition. They didn't have, like, CM Punk wasn't part of the Attitude Era. he came in out way after it.
Yep.
So, like, that's my take on it. I think that they're trying to get people to come to 2K26 because, oh, we put in the attitude era, so you could play as these old wrestlers, and they don't think that their current roster is strong enough to hold this game in because people will probably just only be playing with, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar,
Jey
Roman
Uso is
Reigns,
probably all they're
that kind
gonna
of
play
stuff
as.
like that. I don't
So
think
everybody
that.
could be like, do like that. the
I
whole
don't think
time.
that they, are trying to do anything. It's not going to do so hot for him. But so before we go to the next story here, we're going to be having a video of us ripping the Final Fantasy Magic's the Gathering card, and also do the unboxing of the Nintendo Switch Final Fantasy Remake that came with this pack that you see in my hand there. The difference on this one is this one's gray, and the ones that you buy in the store are white. So, did I get a unique card that, isn't in the regular packs? You got to find out. So the video will be here on this point here, so you can watch the video, in this segment here. So, yeah. What's up, everybody? Dark Knight 316. This is the loot box. So today I have the Final Fantasy VII Remake Intergrade Switch 2 game that comes with the booster pack inside. So we'll open this up, open up the cards, and see if this booster pack is better than the ones you buy in the store. Let's see. If I can even open this game. Here we go. Alright. So we open it up. So it comes with this booster pack, which looks different than the ones that you get with the ones you buy in the store. So here's the game pack on there, and we'll see what we got on the Play Booster pack. Okay. Let's see. So the first one we got here is an art card. This one looks like a character from Final Fantasy 13. We got that card, which is the mountains. We got the Geisha Greens, which is a shiny one. We got the Princess Sarah. We got the Summon Titan. The Demon Wall. Cactuar. Prima Vista. We got the Lapori Scout. That's from 12. Crossroads Village. Stuck in the Summoner Sanctum. The Summon Chocobo and Mog. We got Vane's Treachery. And then we got the Giant Toad, the Giga Toad, and Haste Magic. So, are these cards any good? Did you pre-order yours yet? Because that's only for the pre-order, you get the pack. But you got the Switch 2 game card, not the downloadable one. So, like and subscribe for more of these loot box openings and card pack openings, and we'll see you on the next one. Alright, so speaking of cards and the Final Fantasy, we're talking about they're redoing Queen's Blood. They said it will return in this one because it was so popular in Rebirth that they're saying that they're bringing it back in Remake Part 3, and they're going to enhance it. So to me, I think the enhancements that they're going to prove are going to be each one now is probably going to have like a materia on it. So it'll probably be like the green materia beats the red materia beats the purple one, and they'll have it where you can add in kind of like how like Pokemon has like the energy cards. I think that they're gonna have materia cards, and then that's gonna be enhanced in there where kind of like in the Queen's Blood where it's like you put this card down, it enhances the other two. Well, it'll be like you put the green materia down, it'll heal the cards around you, so they'll get a higher, you know, increase their hit points on that, so that when you go through the row, now you have more that you got to deal with. So I think that they're going to be adding that with the Queen's Blood. I think that they should do what Witcher 3 did, and the Witcher 3 had a card game called Gwent, and that was so popular that they made a standalone game that was just Gwent, and that people could go and play. And I can see them, like, if they were to do this, they could put this on the iOS, they could put it on the Android, they can also do it for, like, the consoles and stuff like that, where you're just playing those games. You're buying packs to open up these cards and stuff like that. I mean, I can even see them doing here in part 3, where it's kind of like how the tubers and us like that do pack openings, and you can see maybe Cloud, showing the cards that he got for his Queen Blood and stuff like that, and you do pack openings for it. So I could see them doing that kind of animation for it. What's your take?
The way I want to see them do it is like you start, like you talk to somebody for Queen's Blood or whatever, you get all your deck from the previous game. Uh-huh. Like if you got everything in there, then it carries over, and then it builds upon those new enemies. Because that's what you got to think about, is they're going to expand it with the current enemies that are going to be in part 3. But I think the enhance will probably be, they're going to be more of the, because remember they had like kind of like that darkness one where it took points away.
Yeah,
and they'll probably have different ones like that.
Well, that's why I'm saying that they're probably doing the materias.
I don't necessarily, though they may add materia like cards, kind of
that's what I'm saying,
like chocobo cards and stuff like that. Yeah. They might add that, but like you got to think that they might actually have it where it's like the cards can get poisoned if you have a Marlboro. Like, oh, the card can get poisoned in that one, or like, oh, if you have a bomb, it can actually do fire damage. Like things like that, they might enhance.
Well, I was thinking more of like they'll have the materia card, so the red one would be like, your red magic, so you could do fire and stuff like that, and then do extra damage for it, mm-hmm. and then have like the yellow magic, could be like stop in time, so you can stop the people from taking a turn,
they
and
might
do that kind of stuff like that. But it's based off of the materia cards, not based off of like the character cards.
What would you like to see though? Like Queen's Blood, would you rather have them have like remember like how when you walked around and you saw the people, mm-hmm. or would you rather have it where it's, oh, I can go and get everything, in one go or whatever, of like there's like a little hub or something like that you could go to?
Well, I think they should do maybe a little bit of both.
Like golden saucer
I
hub.
think what they should do, and it's probably not popular, but do it like Final Fantasy VIII, where you can get your own cards by either buying or playing against somebody else, or fight the monster and do the monster trap, and you get the card. Yeah, you get the card mod there, and you can transform them into it, so that then they can have upgraded versions of those monsters. So you can have like maybe like, oh, this is a legendary dragon that you captured into a card mod there, and then this is way better than the regular,
mm-hmm.
Like let's say like you did Bahamut and you captured him in a card, and you ended up getting him as a legendary Bahamut. Well, you can get the regular Bahamut that has these stats, but this one's legendary, so it has way more stats than it. And I think that would be fun to do with trying to wrap everything up, because there's not that much left to do for the Final Fantasy, since they pretty much covered all the rest of the game. So I think having it where you want to capture all the enemies into cards would probably be like a good, like a cool thing to do, mm-hmm. because then one, it does a throwback to Final Fantasy VIII on there.
They're gonna have card materia.
Yeah, yeah,
like a card materia that, mm-hmm. will actually, instead of an ability, it's a card materia that you can do all that.
Equip on it to do it, kind of like how you have to learn the enemy skills. They can have it where you can do the card ones on there. Like I think that would be kind of cool to throw back to Final Fantasy VIII, because I mean, other than that, I mean, Final Fantasy IX had a card, the Tetra Magic one, and so Final Fantasy VII never really had a card game until this Queen's Blood on there. I think you should be able to buy packs.
Yeah, you're
like
able to buy packs.
No, but I think that you should just buy packs at the stores on there, and I think like maybe at the Golden Saucer should have like a tournament mode, where it's like, I mean, they did have it where you can play.
Yeah, but more expanded, where it's like
yeah, where it's kind of like how they did it on the ship, where they're like, oh, you're facing this one in this round, kind of stuff like that, but do it more expansive.
They should do it where it's like you have a ranking, but you play like I think of like Blitzball, where you do the ranking and it's like if you become first, you get X potion or something like that. That's how they should do it, and then maybe you could get like a more powerful armor or something like that you can, like it's worthy for you to be able to play the game, maybe get more card packs or whatever, but they should do it where it's like, oh, you play 3 games, you become first place, this is what you win, and then they can, track your stats and all that.
Well, they had the level ones in Rebirth where you had to only play this one by leveling up. What I don't want them to do, if they were to take like the Final Fantasy VIII type stuff, is I don't want the stupid rules. Where it's like, oh, this one here is where you can only play these cards, or you can only play that card, like that kind of stuff. Like I think that's
using ball and garden rules.
Yeah, like that kind of stuff like that, where it's like, oh, we win, we take 2 cards, we take all cards. Like I think that's kind of dumb.
I mean, it works in my favor when I win.
Yeah, when you win, but I mean, I find that kind of dumb. I think that maybe they should just do it where it's like, you win, you get to pick a card, any card that you want, or maybe you put up a card at the beginning, and then that's what you're gonna go for it. But I do think that if they do the card, like you buy a pack at the item shop or whatever, like he should open it up and be excited like how Pokemon cards are, and go, oh, did I get a good one? Oh yeah, look, I got this legendary one. And then he's gonna be sad
when he gets the Aerith card.
And so I think that would be kind of cool, because then it kind of brings together like the different genres of like people who like opening up card packs to people who are playing the Final Fantasy games. So I mean, I think this is good. They claim that they already have the name done, but they don't want to reveal it.
I think the timeline. Well, because here's a couple things. I know it's Queen's Blood, but because we're talking about a little bit of it, we won't get too deep into it. But there is next month there is going to be a Sony State of Play. Do you think has
it been confirmed?
No, or is it just rumored? It's been rumored because they've been doing a State of Play last 5-6 years in February ever since. So either one, that State of Play is just going to be all about Marathon basically, because Marathon comes out in March, or it gives the opportunity to give you the name, kind of gameplay, talk a little bit about it, or 2, Summer Game Fest, which they did in. What is it, 2022, 2023?
I think that would be more likely.
That's where they did with Rebirth.
Because they brought out that demo, remember? And they said it's available now. Even though it wasn't available now.
Demo.
Yeah.
But that's where I'm thinking that they might release it this year, because I think the time frame...
You think they'll release part 3 this year?
No.
I think just that demo?
I think they'll release a demo, give you more, talk about it, because you got to think, they're going to... have you go remake. I think end of the year they'll announce Rebirth is coming out. Same time
January,
February. And then either release 7 in June or for the 30th anniversary in 2027. Because the game's pretty much just done.
Well, when do you think Rebirth is coming out for the other systems?
Rebirth, I think, comes out either the end of this year or January next year.
So do you think that maybe the State of Play will... Well, no, they won't show off.
That's where I don't think they
would. I think Summer Game Fest will maybe show...
Summer Game Fest, they'll make the announcement of
Rebirth. Do the announcement, and then they'll say Rebirth is coming out for
Rebirth is coming out for the consoles January, but then also sneak peek at 3.
Here's the name of it.
The only reason why I could see them doing that is because you also got to think I keep thinking they're probably going to have a trilogy pack.
Yeah.
So they'll probably have it for the 30th anniversary, a trilogy pack. They get you all 3 games, or you could just get the game separately, and they'll do something like that for the 30th anniversary. So they'll either do that, or they'll release... Because Rebirth has to come out before Part 3 gets released.
So that then everybody could
play. Either Part 3 gets, released, let's say, the back end of this year, sometime in the fall or winter, they announce the release date, and it comes back out in like February, and then they do a trilogy pack for the 30th anniversary.
When's the 30th anniversary?
September of next year.
Okay.
So I can see them doing something big for the 30th anniversary, but that's why I think
maybe the 30th anniversary is where that they just reveal what the name is.
No, they're going to reveal the name sooner, but that's where I think like you look at like a
you
summer
think the
game
will come out
like
then on
the
that
game,
day?
And that's why I'm thinking the game might be
on their 30th.
Their 30th anniversary, and though that's why they're going to announce Rebirth, the name of it, the 30th anniversary, and then do a whole like 30th anniversary set, a trilogy pack, a like a 30th anniversary art book, and then when you pre-order it, like you get all that stuff.
Yeah,
that's why I think that it would take that long if they wanted to release the third one, because they said it's not going to be a next gen console, so it has to come out by 2027. So either end of this year or next year. But if I'm looking at the time frame, Rebirth has to come out on other consoles before.
It has to come out way before.
So that's why I think it's still going to be delayed.
So
but we will get to know.
So then what I'm saying is, I think that maybe if next month you said that it's supposed to have a whatchamacallit,
state of play.
I think maybe that they'll announce Rebirth for all the systems, and they'll say that it's coming out globally, whatever like that. So stay tuned for that, and then just basically show, and they'll show like maybe they'll do like, since it's the Sony state of play and they don't want to really do it, they'll say, oh, we added in like these, what are they called in the remake that they just added, the
streamlined progression.
The streamlined progression, like we added this now in Rebirth, and it's going to be for all consoles, and that's pretty much all they'll say. They'll show like that stuff like that to
show the remake,
and then they'll say like oh, Rebirth comes out, this thing will come out on this date, and then they'll give you the date, and then that'll be the one with all the systems will get it.
See, if that is the case, I'm going to buy the Rebirth in another region, and then replay that with streamlined progression.
And then Summer's Game Fest would definitely, I think that's when they're going to reveal the name.
Because that's what they did.
I think that they'll bring out a demo, because that's what they did the last time that they did. They only did that Sephiroth Cloud demo. So I think that they'll do the demo here and have it where, they'll show maybe like a small little portion of, like a smaller, maybe they'll just do the Queen's Blood, like something to play, not really show off there, or maybe this demo you actually get to play with Vincent and Sid, and then they'll kind of do the demo like that, so that then they can streamline it.
And then that's what I was thinking too.
And then they'll probably release the game on the 30th anniversary, and then not only have that game out, but they'll have the trilogy pack as well.
See, that's where also you got to think of time frame, because you got to think when they released it at Summer Game Fest, and then they said, okay, February 2024, the game's going to release. So you figure, let's say, was it July, August, September, December, January, so like 6 months, right? So if they do the exact same thing, they're going to wait another year, like almost a year and a half, to say this game's coming out for the 30th anniversary. That's why I don't think it might not come out on the 30th
The only problem I
anniversary.
have, though, is they said the game's already done. So why don't they just release it? They're trying to
because they have
build
to go
the
through
hype.
the time frame of being able. Because you think if they release this in Rebirth, it's probably not going to sell as well together. Whereas they can make a little bit more money off the other two for having multi-platform and get it on your Switch 2 and play it like that.
Yeah.
Polish it up and make it look good.
Yeah, I just think it's just dumb that you're like waiting on a game for like a year or two. Just because it's already done.
It's great to see though how long, because you got to remember they've been working on this. They said once they finished up Rebirth, they've been working on this. So they may have been working on it, let's say 3 years, because they could have already finished up Rebirth at that time they went to Summer Game Fest.
Yeah.
And then just had a team working on the trilogy remake. So technically, if it is a 4-year time frame, it could come out next year because they've already finished it. But Rebirth has to come out first.
Our last story that we're talking about is Sony's PS6 release. So according to some financial reports, they said that Sony was dumb enough to not stockpile enough next-gen graphics cards like Microsoft did. So because of that, they're delaying the release of the PS6 to possibly 2027, 2028, or even further than that, because they didn't stockpile enough of the graphics cards and enough of the processing power to make the PS6. Because when they were cheap, Microsoft stockpiled a whole bunch of them. Sony took their time to do it, and then now that it's gone up like threefold because of the tariffs that they claim, or because of Nvidia's now majority owners of the graphics card. Like now, it's going to be 3 times as much, and they don't want. They know that if they were to sell a system for like $1,000, nobody's going to buy it for $1,000, and it'll be their whole PS3 type thing again. So they're trying to make it where it'd be about the $600-700 range for the next gen system. So because of that, they're going to be pushing more of getting the PS5 Pro, getting the PS5, putting more of their stuff on the PS5. So like with our last story about the Final Fantasy 7 trilogy, like I think that they'll have the trilogy on the PS5, and then when the PS6 comes out, that'll be the next gen version of that game that they'll do, kind of like how they did with The Last of Us when it was The Last of Us Part 1 was out on the PS3, then they made a PS4 version of it. And I think that that's what they're going to do with the PS6, and they'll have Final Fantasy Trilogy on the PS6, updated graphics to whatever the PS6's graphics are, and their frame rates and stuff like that. I think that that's what they're going to end up doing. But, I mean, PS5 is... I mean, one way I say, like, yeah, it's good that they're extending the lifestyle, because when the PS5 came out, like, it really didn't do so hot. Like, I mean, they didn't really have a good lineup for launch title. Like, it came out in a time where it's like, not a lot of people bought it. So that wasn't until they...
Yeah, think of what happened, 2020.
It wasn't until they brought out, like, the slimmer version, the one where you can cut and only have the digital only, or do the disc one, or until they brought out the Pro, where they started seeing a lot more people buying the PlayStations and stuff like that. And so extending it longer is fine. I mean, they need to do the transition in anyway to PS5 to PS6, so they need you to get in the ecosystem right now and just mostly focus on 5, because now recently they did it where they're trying to wean you off of PS4 and just focus on
PS5 strict.
PS5 on there, even though they still make the PS4 games, but they're trying to stop doing it where they're making it. But like Japan does a lot of the PS4 games still on there. So since they're delaying it, the Microsoft may actually have their system out for a couple of years before Sony launches theirs, because they're now looking at a 2027, 2028 or beyond release date on it, which would make Sony PS5 in their 10th year cycle.
Yeah, so if they hit like
cycle,
the 2020, right? If they hit the 2030, that's the 10-year cycle. So we're going into year 6 now.
Yeah. So I could see them maybe going into 2028, 2029. They're pushing it to like the 8 to 10 year cycle, because that's pretty much what they did with the PS4. Is most of the consoles, when they have the next one, like it's within like a 7 year gap before they bring out the next one to kind of like wean you in to the next system. So I can see them doing that with this one, not bringing it out till 2028, 2029 for it. But I mean, if Microsoft's want, I mean, and that could be a good thing though too, because Microsoft could screw up everything, and then Sony goes back to the drawing board now that they have more time, and fix everything that they were going to have that was going to suck to be better. For kind of like how with the Xbox One, when they were like, oh yeah, you have to have the Kinect, you have to always be on, you got to hook it up to a cable company provider and do it on there.
Games.
You can't do used games. And what did Sony do? Oh, look, I have a copy of this game. Here you go. You can borrow this game here. Oh, we're used game friendly, like blah 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 blah. And they kind of did also with like the PS4, where it's like, Xbox was like, it's gonna be, $3.99, and then they come out $2.99, and everybody's like, yeah,
Yep.
to go do it because PS3 was, oh yeah, you can take out a mortgage of your house, you can, you know, finance your car, like that kind of stuff to afford their $700 or $600, you know, George Foreman grill, basically, that kind of stuff. So it's one is a good thing on it that they're delaying it, but their excuse for it I think is stupid because they had the opportunity to stockpile all those chips, and now they're just using excuses on why they weren't like Microsoft and did the whole bunch of it. What's your take?
Um, I'm gonna have the unpopular opinion. I think PS6 generation will fail for Sony. And, more than likely, I probably will be wrong, but the way I think about it is because PS2 came off that, like, best selling. They came off that, they're riding that train of everything's good, that roller coaster, everything is good. We're selling the most consoles, blah, blah, blah. And then they took a chance with PS3, and it all went down, and it took them a while to pick back up. I think this is what you're going to see with the PS6 because you're gonna have where people,
So you think that the number threes are bad for them?
yeah,
Because
probably.
PS6 would be like PS3.
But the reason why I see is because you see like the PS5 is just, oh, it's taken off, it's incredible. Like, almost 90 million now sold. But why should I get a PS6? Like, that's my biggest thing because if it's backwards compatibility, I can already play all my PS5 and PS4 games right now. There's no reason for me to get a PS6 at launch, and I can wait until they fix up this soaring cost of RAM and things like that in the future when things start to get a little bit cheaper. If that's the case, or another company comes out and gets all the RAMs. Like how whatever happens with the market. But that's going to be my biggest thing is how do you come out and say, okay, here I'm gonna release PS6. It's slightly upgraded from my PS5, and I don't have a strong launch title again. Like you can't do this a second time in a row. So that's where I think PS6 is going to struggle. I don't think Xbox will take them over because I think Xbox is
Done.
their business concept right now. I think they've got less than 10 years if they don't switch things over. But I think they're pretty much done. But I think Nintendo will just continue to just own the market and just take out because you got to think now. Not only is the Switch out, it's been out almost a year, but now Nintendo could just focus on releasing good games. That's all they have to do is focus on
Do you
releasing
think
games.
then that Sony's going to release a handheld and a console, or do you think their next PS6 is going to be like the Switch, where
I think
you can dock it, play it on your TV,
No.
and then bring it with you? Because since the Portal, they say that they've seen at least a 5% increase in people buying Portals to go play it. So I don't know if they want to take their chance on doing like a Vita 2 or a Portal 2 where it's a complete handheld.
I'll tell you this,
Or
they'll
if
fail.
they're going to do the other.
They will fail by modeling after the Switch because the Switch has that unique concept. You got to think when you think of PlayStation, you don't think of PlayStation as a smaller console. Like you think of it's sitting on your shelf because it's the console that's going to show off. Like yeah, you have the slim version of PS2 stuff like that because of this, but like you got to think. I do not believe that people are going to want to take their PS6 out like a Switch, bring it with them someplace, and bring it back. Because if they do that, then what's the point of you having to wait on soaring RAM costs and things like that? Because you're just can use your same technology you have from now and then put it into your console. I think what they're going to do is they're going to release the console and then maybe a year after
Do like a Portal 2.
like a Portal 2. But you also got to think like they have to slim up that Portal because that Portal is too bulky. It can easily break. That's why I'm afraid of taking mine when we go on vacation and stuff. But it can easily break when you're trying to carry that. You could do what the Switch did when they had the Switch Lite, and you could carry that around and play it like that. But you got to think when you start to make a handheld, you have to have less. you have to have less type of like technology to be able to do that. So that's why you see like the PS5. I can only run streaming games. I can't run my like really run too much of my catalog for such a long time. I could connect to my PlayStation and play games that way.
Yeah, and
But then
also
why not just sit
and also see like, do
play
they really
someplace?
want to try their hand on another
They apparently
portable?
want to.
I mean, their Vita failed. Their PSP was their only successful
It was
one,
a
but
successful one.
the problem that I see with like Sony is that they try to use proprietary accessories and stuff where like you have to pay the premium for all this crap, or instead of just using the generic ones like with their SD cards or whatever that they use. You had to use a certain one, and it had to be only a Sony one. They wouldn't let you use third party ones, and that's what like the Switch 2 is pretty much did, where it's like it has to be an XD, SD, X35 type card, where it's like you can't just use some generic XD card that that you can get off the market that's like way more gigs or whatever you can do it, and like I can see that that's the problem with it, and then plus like when they bring their games, they're like their media on there. It's like, are you really going to? Because when they bring it into the portable, just like with the Switch habit, is you have to downgrade everything. So the graphics are not going to look the same as on your home console. The frame rate's not going to be the same on there. And if you are able to get to it, the battery life is going to be drained. Like
terrible.
all this crap's going to do it. Is it going to be built-in Wi-Fi so that then you have to have a good Wi-Fi signal,
Or pay AT&T for the 3 gig.
or are they going to just do it where it's like remote play? So you have to do it like there's too many problems that they didn't think about when like how Nintendo thought about, where they're like, we'll have a console, we'll have a handheld, but now we did it perfectly with the handheld and
They
home console
allowed you
on
to
there.
take exactly what you can play on your Switch at home and take it with you.
Yeah.
PlayStation can't do that because you have to have your PS5 in sleep mode in order to play anything on your PS5. That's where I think they need to be able to say, how can I do that with the Switch, with the Portal, and I can bring it in.
Well, that's what they were trying to do.
That's where I think they'll fail.
Is that they want the next console to be like a dockable portal where they can where you could bring it out, you could bring with you, and it has the same capacity on there, and use the memory cards on there.
You want to sell more. You want to, like, especially if PlayStation's leading the market, you want to sell more for your accessories and things like that. You want to sell, let's say, a $500 console plus a $200 add-on of that, and you want to sell all those to justify somebody can spend $1,000 while they're trying to get your PS6.
Well, because they see that how the Steam Deck and then that new ROG Xbox One.
I haven't heard anybody playing that one.
I know, I haven't either. But like those come out, so they show that like people want to play portable on there when they're going on the trips on there. So that's why they brought out the Portal. And when they saw that 5% increase on it, because then they did it where you can have Wi-Fi and do it anywhere, not having to only be within the vicinity of your PS5. Now you can do Wi-Fi from like a coffee shop or wherever like that. So they saw that 5% increase, so they're like, "Oh look, people want this portable one. Let me go, focus on trying to do that." So, I don't think it's a good idea for them to be. I think that they should just get out of the market, or test their luck at a $1,000 Steam Deck PS version, for it to come out, and then test your luck on that, because I'm not gonna go buy $1,000 version Steam Deck and a PS6. That's gonna possibly cost about $800 to $1,000 as well, maybe even more, depending on how Microsoft does. Like that's way too much, and then you're gonna sell all the games for like $100. Like that's way too much. People can't afford all this. So maybe Sony's next plan should be make everything cheaper, so that then the market will be cheaper. Why go for the expensive graphics card? Maybe go for the cheap cards and be like the one that's our system's the more affordable system on there. Like we're not into movie level graphics because that costs too much for the consumer.
Mm-hmm.
Let's go with the consumer what they can afford and do the
How
cheaper
many people
version
are
of
like
it.
these days right now? Oh wow, that game looks awesome.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, unless you're like hardcore PlayStation fan, you're not really noticing like
Yeah,
the graphics
because
and
you don't
speeds
see
and things like that.
you don't see the system's prices come down.
Mm-mm.
Like with TVs, like you can get like an 80-inch TV for couple $100, like 300-400 bucks on there. Where when they first came out, they were over $1,000 but now you can get them for real cheap. So they should do that with the systems is keep lowering the prices of the system, make it more affordable, and then maybe people will, you know, buy more of the old systems and you can get it up. I don't know. But yep, that's all the stories that we have today. Um, I'm Dark Knight 316. This is Robert Wheeler Gaming. This has been the Roundtable Podcast. So if you like the Roundtable Podcast, give it a like and subscribe to it so we can build the channel up more and have more subscribers so we can go live and do streaming versions, go live so we can interact with our fans and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Even have maybe like a live streaming game fest. We could go play.
We would like to be able to have
with
this like
other-
to be able to interact live, but we gotta get to YouTube
Uh-huh.
enough subscribers to be able
Yep.
to be able to do live. So
So yeah, so just smash that like button,
smash.
thumbs up on it so we can bring it up so we can get more people up on it, and we'll see you on the next one. So thank you.
God bless you guys. Take it easy.
Take it easy.